Hey, welcome back to Scrappin' It Up. I'm Vanessa Peter, and this is a 12 weeks of Christmas series that I'm hosting. And we are continuing the journey of the recipe album. Okay, so today we are going to make the hinge system that I came up with for this recipe folio album, so we could have flippable pages in here. Let me show you just real quick for those of you that don't know. I come up with this hinge system in here, so these would be able to flip individually by themselves, okay, on their own hinge. As far as I know, I have not seen any other crafter do this yet, so I'm calling this Pocket Pages hinge system, pocket page hinge binding system. Okay, and so each page just flips individually. I was just messing around one day, and I've seen other ones put pocket pages in albums, and I really didn't care for the way that they flipped, and so I messed around until I finally come up with something. And then in this album too, I also do what I'm calling oh my gosh, my brain has totally lost me, my patchwork pages. Oh my word, patchwork pages. And it's a page that I throw it together with my scraps that are left. Okay, both these pages are what I'm calling my patchwork pages. They're just scraps thrown together to make a page, and I will show you guys how to do that. There's no rhyme or reason to it. You just put together what you have left of your scraps, and it's a great way of using up your scraps. All right, let's get started with this hinge system, ladies. All right, so you'll need two pieces, cut to what the cutting guide says. You're going to score on the 10-inch side, okay? You're going to start at 1 inch. So you're going to score at 1 inch, then you're going to score at 1/8 of an inch, and then 1/8 of an inch again, okay? Then we're going to do 1/4 of an inch, okay? So you have 1/8 and 1/8. You're starting at 1. You have 1/8 and 1/8 and 1/4. So you should be at 1 1/2 right now, okay? Now we're going to do 2 1/2 inches. So you're going to be at 2 and 2 1/2, okay? So there's the 2 1/2 inches. Now you're going to do 3 1/4 inches. So 2 3/4 at 3 and 3 1/4. Okay, now you're going to do your 1/2 inch, which would be 3 3/4 and 4 1/4. Okay, something when you're doing scoring like this, you want to make sure you keep a pretty good hold on your paper. You don't want it slipping down, because if that happens, your hinge will get off, and you don't want that. Okay, so you need to make sure you're hanging on to your paper pretty good. Okay, so we left off at 4 1/4. We done our 2 halves. Now we're going to do our 3 quarters again. So we're at 4 1/2, 4 3/4, and 5. Okay. Now we're going to do our 2 1/2 inches again. So 5 1/2, 6. Now we're going to do 3 1/4 inches again. So it's 6 1/4, 6 1/2, and 6 3/4. Now we're going to do our halves again. So we're going to go at 7 1/4, 7 3/4. Okay, 7 3/4. And then our last quarter, you end up at 8. So you should end up at 8. Okay, so let's do that again on our other piece. On the 10-inch side, you're going to start at 1, then you're going to do an 1/8 of an inch, you're going to do another 1/8 of an inch, and then a 1/4. So you should be at 1 1/2. Okay, and then you're going to score at 2, and you're going to score at 2 1/2. Okay, now you're going to do your 2 3/4 and 3, and then 3 1/4. Okay, that's your 3/4. Now we're going to do our two halves. So 3 3/4, 4 1/4. Okay, so then 4 1/2, 4 3/4, and 5. Okay, now we're going to do our 2 halves again. So 5 1/2 and 6. Now we're going to do our 3/4 again. So 6 1/4, 6 1/2, and 6 3/4. Now we're going to do our 2 halves again. So 7 1/4, 7 3/4, and then do a 1/4. And you should end up on 8. 8 should be it, ladies. Okay? Alright. You're going to flip it over to your back side. And you will need a 1/4 inch score pile tape. Okay? I should have put that in the supplies. I didn't even think about having specific size. But yeah, you will need 1/4 of an inch. So, yep. Okay. So now, you're going to have towards you, right here, you're going to have your inch and your 1/8 and the 1/8. Okay? So the first 1/4 inch, you are going to apply your score pile tape. And you want to stay pretty straight with your score pile tape on that 1/4 of an inch. Okay? Now you're going to skip your 2 halves and 2 1/4 inches, and you're going to go on that 1/4 inch right before your 2 1/2 inches. Okay? You're going to do the same thing. You're going to skip your 2 halves, 2 1/4s, and you're going to apply your score pile tape right on the 1/4 of an inch right before your 2 1/2 inches. Okay? You're going to do the same thing. You're going to skip your 2 halves, skip 2 1/4s, and apply your tape to that 1/4 inch right before your 2 halves. Okay? So let's do that again. You guys are going to be pros at this time we get done. Okay? You have your inch, 1/8, and an 1/8, and a 1/4. Apply your tape right on that first 1/4 inch line. Okay? And again, keeping your tape pretty straight across. Stay right in that 1/4 inch line. So you have 2 halves, skip 2 1/4s, and the half right before your 2 halves, the 1/4 right before your 2 halves is where you're going to stick your tape. Okay? So skip 2 halves, 2 1/4s, and you're going to apply your score pile tape right on top of that 1/4 inch right before your 2 halves. Okay? Skip your 2 halves, 2 1/4s, and you're going right on that 1/4 right before your 2 halves. Okay? And if you guys happen to have any questions about this, please put it in the comments section below. I will answer you. So if you have any questions, please ask me, or if you have just a comment, if you like this. because I designed this just not for the to hold the pocket pages. I designed this to even hold my 12 by 12 pages. I designed this back in, oh gosh, probably February, because we done the recipe album on my Facebook fan page in March, and so I designed it way back then, and I want something to accommodate my 12 by 12 pages, so we can make a book with our 12 by 12 pages too. So I come up with this, and I'm calling it the Pocket Page Hinge System. Okay, so now you have your two halves here. Okay, you are going to fold right on that score line in between those two halves. Okay, you're splitting your halves in two. Okay, now we're taking our score pile tape off, and we are attaching it to this next 1/4 inch score pile tape right after your half. Okay, stick it down and pull back. Okay, pull back on that. Okay, your two halves, you're folding right in the middle of those two halves. You have your two halves, and then you have your 2 quarters right after your, in between your, you have a quarter, half, half, quarter. So the two halves are getting folded together, and we're sticking the 2 quarters together. Okay? Okay, do the same thing, your two halves, fold it right in half. Okay? Take your tape off, and we're sticking the 2 quarters together. And then we have a 1/4 inch gusset in between. My tape must have got off a little bit on that one. Folding your two halves again. Okay. And then we're sticking those 2 quarters together. Okay. And then pulling back on it. Okay. Now you're going to flip it over to the other side where you hinges. Now you're just going to kind of fold on that 1/4 inch gusset. You're just folding them over, ladies. Okay. Okay. All right, so now you're going to kind of work that. Because you want your hinge to be flexible so your pages turn freely. Okay. And you want to try and make sure that you don't lose your 1/8 of an inch. Because see what that allows. Okay, we're going to glue this down. That 1/8 of an inch, we're going to glue it down like that. This 1/8 of an inch, them 2/8 inches, is what's going to allow us a little bit of room. So if you lose your 1/8 of an inch, what you may have to do is score another 1/8 of an inch here. Okay. Okay, let's do our other one. So your inch, 1/8 of an 1/8. Now you're going to fold right in between your two halves. Okay, and burnish. Let's take our score pile tape off and stick her down. And then pull back on that. Okay. Try not to lose I didn't get my score pile tape very straight is my problem. All right. So your 2 halves, you're folding right in the middle of those 2. Okay. Take your tape off. And fold back on it. Okay. Your 2 halves. Okay. And then take your tape off. And we're sticking these 2 quarters down. Okay, and I'll show you why we're doing that here in just a minute. Okay. Again, your 2 halves, you're folding it right in the middle of those 2. And burnish. Alright. Stick her down, pull back. Okay. And see, these wind up being your gusset areas. And then your hinges is on the other side. Okay, so you're going to flip it over. Now you're just going to fold right along that gusset. And it should just pretty well freely fold on that gusset. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to give this a good burnish to kind of break it in. Because you want these to flow. I mean, you don't want them to be stiff. Okay. I'm just checking my line up. I'm not too bad. I am off a little bit there. They're a little bit. Yeah, this one's. Yep, this one's off. That ain't too bad. But that's easy to get off. Okay, and again, you have your 1/8 of an inch, so just kind of fold on it. I fold my 1/4 inch first, and then the 1/8 inch just kind of pops up once you get your 1/4 folded. And then you can just kind of pinch up, and your 1/8 of an inch just kind of pops right up. Okay? And that allows us just a little bit of a gusset. Okay? Okay. Now, I'm going to check this one and see how well it's doing. Oh, yeah. Doing fine. Okay, now the secret is, I think I'll use my little scissors. We're just going to barely, well, let's use the big ones. We're just barely going to cut a little pinch off this 1/2 inch. And I'll show you just in a sec what I mean by, yeah. There's what I'm cutting off, ladies. Just enough to open her up. Okay. Just enough to open it up. Okay. Just lightly push on it to open it up. Okay. Do that to all the hinges. All 4 hinges. You just barely gonna cut it open, ladies. Okay. Just barely cut it open. What we're doing is cutting these open so we can attach our pages inside. And then oops, dang it. It's kind of hard sometimes just to cut off just a hair. You don't want to cut off too much because this helps hide the holes that the pocket pages have in them. Yep. So you don't want to get too crazy and get too far into it, but just enough to where it opens them up, okay? So usually I'm just trimming off just a sliver of it. Just cutting that fold off is what I'm doing. You want to try and stay pretty straight because it will show when you get your pocket page in there. Okay, there's what I cut off. So now you're going to open up these hinges, what we just cut off, because this is how we open these up. So just use your finger, guide it open, and it will stop where your score pile tape is, okay? Do it to all 4 of them. Okay, just lightly open it up. Okay, just lightly. Just lightly press, and it should just open right up for you. Okay. And we already opened that one up. Okay, now what we're going to do, you're going to grab your 1/4 inch score pile tape, and you are going to apply your score pile tape right along. I'm going closer to the cut edge is what I'm doing. Okay. Do both sides. You're just taping the insides. You're not taping the outsides, just the insides. Okay, you're taping the insides because we will slide our pocket page in there and then close it back up. Okay. This is how our pocket pages attach. Okay. Okay. Open it up. And you're going to do this to all 4 hinges. Okay. And open it up and apply your tape. So just like that, ladies. Okay. And when you get it done, just close it back up and work it some more, ladies. Okay. And work these closed. Don't work these open. Okay. Work it closed. Okay. And we need to work this so it will open up and turn more freely. You need to break down the fibers. Okay. All right. Now there's my 1/4 inch. It's catching it. So I'm just going to pull it out. Alrighty. Okay, let me show you. Let me get one of my pocket pages real quick. And all right. So how we're going to attach them is we open it up, slide it. Well, we'll take the tape off one side, just one side, and then stick this in here and see, then we shut it up. So that's what we are doing. Okay? Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section below. Or if you guys would happen to have any questions on this, please ask them. I will answer them for you. And if you need maybe a little different video or something, but okay, this is the pocket page hinge binding system that we are using for the recipe folio album. So just let me know if you like it. Give me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel so you never miss out, and hit that notification button. Okay, we will see you ladies in the next video. Keep scrapping. Bye bye.